Hey guys, this is Steven, and I am joined today by...
Oh, me. All right, guys. This is Doc M.
and of course...
Oh, 'tis me, INVEdit. I love you all. Yes, I do.
So this is the second episode of our triple commentary series. We are on INVEdit server as always, so thank you for hosting this, INVEdit. We have 3 topics for you guys today. So the first thing we wanted to say before we get going with the discussion is that the 3 of us have been thinking, and we may open a new channel for this and put all of the videos on there and links to them on our own channels, but what we definitely want is an intro for the series so that all 3 of us can use it whenever we upload one of these videos. So we're having a contest for the intro. The winner who gets picked will get a free spot on the server, effective immediately. You don't have to use the waiting list. You'll be on the server forever, on good behavior.
Yay for you.
Yeah, so we'll put the details in the description, but pretty much it just needs to be probably under 30 seconds. Don't use any music. We're going to put in our own music that we have the rights to, probably something from my band, because I don't know what else we could use. We want something from all 3 of us in there, so either our names or our something we've done or our voices. I don't know. Be creative, but we want all 3 of us to be represented.
If you guys need any help or any assistance for the intros, please go ahead and ask. I can allow temporary privileges or access to my server.
Yeah.
If needed, if there's anything, but there really shouldn't be, because everything's kind of done in single player for Steven stuff and Doc stuff. But if you need like skins and stuff, I don't know. I mean, I use Donatello usually. I'm Blacktron right now because I've been lazy.
Yeah. So, but let's see. So we'll give you a title for the radio show or YouTube show, whatever, in the description once we think of it. We haven't quite discussed that yet. We're going to talk about it after the show because we realize you do need to have the title in there. It'll be something simple. Anyways, so I guess let's go ahead and get going. Doc, if you want to type in-game when the timer goes off and we can wrap it up so we can keep track. Don't bother saying it on vent if somebody's in the middle of a sentence,
sure.
I guess. So our first,
I'll keep track of the time.
No problem. Our first topic, and if I forget anything that we talked about, guys, go ahead and type it into the chat if somebody's already talking. We wanted to revisit this inventory edit, world edit, MC edit kind of thing that we talked about before. Our discussion sparked a lot of debate across a lot of channels. We didn't take it to the forums.
Oh, yes, it did.
Yeah, we didn't take it to the forums because there's actually like 15 ongoing threads about this on there, but we're kind of keeping it separate, just keeping it in the YouTube community. So we had quite a few arguments that were brought up to us, and we kind of wanted to discuss those, as well as finish some of the thoughts that we had about it before. So, INVEdit, do you want to talk about what you had read that you wanted to show us?
Oh, of course, of course. As most of you have probably already discovered, that I am very honest and very outspoken. Almost to a fault.
Almost.
But other people would say completely to a fault. Yeah, see, right there. Alright, so, as you know, there was an individual who I now refer to as Cesar Romero, who played Joker on the Batman TV series. Zaw. He made a response video to the second part of the commentary, which was on Doc's channel. And in there he says, what's the opposite of inventory editing? And he says, oh yeah, that's right, playing the game. So with that said...
well, let me
I kinda
have a
just
disclaimer. Well, as a disclaimer, INVEdit is expressing his own opinions here, so, keep that in mind. Doc, INVEdit, and I all have different opinions about things, so we're all going to give our take.
Most definitely.
So, INVEdit, tell us what you thought about Zaw's comment.
Alright, because I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to get a flame war. He's trying to get some sort of publicity for his damn channel, and frankly, if that's really what he wants, then congratulations, because you're an idiot. But, I don't... I don't know why, that is, a topic that people want, he's trying to argue against this. But he goes ahead and states that he himself has done it numerous times in the past, but he did stop. Okay, so you're a recovering heroin addict. Congratulations. Well, I'm not
Oh
saying
my
that to kind
God.
of slight him, but
Yeah.
Flame
I mean-
war.
Well, let's.
well, no,
okay,
I don't
well,
want a flame war.
Let's not
but
make it
fuck.
let's not make it a drama thing. I'll tell you what I think about that, and that is that I mean that's one point that I mean the game is Minecraft, right? So you're mining and you're crafting, but I see those as two completely separate entities within the game. Now, the argument that I brought
Most
up,
definitely.
what I brought up is this. I think that to a certain point, yes, you do need to mine things. I argue that for the first 3 months that you have the game, no inventory editor should even work with your game. And then at that point, I feel like you've mined enough that it's time for you to get into some serious building. Now, if you're happy with continuing to play that way forever, then keep doing it. But if you're like me and you want to do something epic that you don't have the resources for, I don't see any point in spending hours and hours and hours in between builds just so that you can say, oh yeah, I gathered the materials legitimately. At a certain point, I think that any build becomes independent from the materials that you gathered for it. For example, look at the things that were done in creative before Alpha came out. For example, the Planet Earth, the #1 most hit Minecraft video on YouTube. That was done with hacked materials because it was creative mode. Or, for example, the guy that made the Enterprise all by himself. Of course he hacked materials for that, okay? But that doesn't make it any less impressive. I don't know if his was done in Alpha or creative, but still. So those are instances, or, my redstone thing, sure, you could argue I could have done that legitimately. I mean, I got half of it legitimately, but the problem is that I had all these ideas in my head, and I didn't want to wait to have all the materials. I wanted to build it right then, and I don't think it's any less impressive, because it's still complicated.
I'm just trying to figure out why people assume that there's more worth to something that you build. I mean, regardless of what you do, it still has worth.
And really,
you're still spending time on it.
It's the hours
but you
that
just
go
don't
into
want
it,
to
I guess.
spend. Well, I mean,
let me
don't
add
wanna
my 2
fucking
cents
spend.
to that.
Oh yeah, sorry, we went off on a tirade.
Yeah, let me say something about it. I mean, you know my world, guys. I'm one of those legend players, but I'm still no hardliner about it. But I'm in one point, Zaw is right. He said you can use INVEdit or you can play the game. Well, there's some truth to that sentence, because the feeling of accomplishment, if you harvest it for or grind it for all your stuff, that's a different thing. But that has nothing to do with decreasing or diminishing other stuff.
Right.
The game has lots of aspects to it, and you can play it in many ways. And I mean, yeah, that's the whole point to it. I don't feel there needs to be some how do we call it? In Germany we call it there are lagers. That means there's one side saying this is the only right way, and the other side saying this is the only right way. That makes no sense.
A bipartisan issue, I guess. See, and I agree. I mean, like I said before, there's 2 aspects to the game, mining and crafting, and you can combine those with whatever amount that you want. Right now, I am 100% crafting. When I'm on the server, I don't mine.
Right.
When I'm in my single player, I'm still, when I'm doing my computer world or my clock world, I'm not mining for that because I am focused on the crafting. And, people don't want to see me mining for hours on YouTube, for example. If I can, shamelessly promote myself, I pride myself on showing people how to build things, not how to mine things. And there's plenty of science done out there on how you best mine things, but I'm just not interested in it right now. It's, the direction that I'm headed is not that way, so. But yeah, this is still a really heated issue.
Mining and gathering materials only lasts... Yeah, mining and gathering materials only lasts for a few hours before it goes from being fun and kind of interesting to, I have to do this again. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, but I have ADD. You guys see it when you watch me do my videos. I jump around constantly, and I can't sit still. If I want to do a project, I'm going to do a damn project. I'm not going to farm and grind materials. But that's the beauty of Minecraft. That we have 1 or 2 people on my server that want to just stick to the survival. They go out and they just do what they want to do. They don't go to Free Mart. They don't ask for materials. They don't give a shit. They just play the game how they want to play it. And that is completely fine.
Let me raise an interesting point then. So we're talking about INVEdit specifically. Well, let's look at World Edit or for single player MC Edit or single player commands. Now, when I'm doing computer things, typically I will build them all by hand so I can test the circuits. But for when we're doing large builds, we like to use World Edit to create spheres or cylinders or things like that. So, do we think there's any problem for for those things, by comparison, if you're using inventory edit, is it okay to use those, or do we think that that's even more cheating? I guess because you're not gathering materials or building. So I think we should take more issue with something like that. If somebody's doing something by hand, they're still doing it by hand. But if they're completely hacking in the materials and hacking in the structure, don't we have a problem with that more than people that aren't even building legitimately?
Well, Doug, what's your opinion?
For sure.
Mine's going to be long.
Sure.
Well, I'm okay. Then have the short opinion in front of that.
No, you don't have to have a short one, but I'm gonna I'm processing exactly what I'm going to say.
Yeah. So basically, I've never used MC3C out of my test world. I'm using it in my test world. For example, I've used it to import schematics, some of the stations, Minecraft edit build, for example, and then I imported them into my world and did some to have some closer look on the design. And then I tried to replicate or adapt things in my real world. So I think for testing purposes and having to look at special things and designs people made, it's a good thing. That's for sure. So why not use it? But for building purposes, I couldn't even use it for my stuff because there's not much in there I could do with MC3C. Probably it would take the same time if I would do it by hand. So for me, it's not a very useful tool.
Yeah, let me give you another example. So, Etho has his mob trap thing that he recently put up all the tutorials for. So I wanted one on my single player, and I built one here on the server, mostly legitimately, because I was playing with people that didn't have MC3C. So yeah, I used my super pickaxe, which lets you do this. You can kill things in one block. But we mostly mined it all out that way. But on my single player, I just cleared out a giant area and then built the pads from scratch. But then for all the signs and water and the elevator, I had to do it legitimately. So, it's like, my opinion is if you've done something by hand before, there's no need to do it again. That goes for mining materials after you've done it for, I still say, 3 months. Or if you've built, for example, all my redstone displays, they're fun to build, so I don't mind building them again, but I think it's pointless. It's like, put your effort towards more creative activities. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a valid point, but also, a lot of these people who make all these mob traps so they can they want to do things efficiently. So, guess what? Inventory editing is allowing you to do things more efficiently. You are now efficient. That word with your time. You are now allowing yourself to do things at a faster rate and get things done, so it's not as time consuming. And then when it comes to world edit, because I have no experience with MC3C, I don't play single player anymore because it's boring. I like interacting with my community, and I love my community, so why not? So when I use world edit, I can take, like today, my friend came on here. He's from Nebraska. I said I want him to make a gigantic corn statue because that's all there is in his state. And he started doing it, but he hit the skybox. What did I do? I went ahead, I cleared out a gigantic portion around it and beneath it, and I took and cut out what he already made and lowered it down like 50 blocks, so he had more room. There's a convenience factor to it, plus it also allows you to kind of expand on your creativity. It allows you to sit there and make a structure, and then you can immediately replace all the blocks in it, or a portion of the blocks, have it randomly distributed, like you said earlier in one of our conversations.
Yeah.
So you can kind of, see how things look. Like the blimp on the top of my stadium, I went ahead and I've changed. I didn't make it. Venzo made it. But it was originally lapis lazuli, and it was dark as shit. So we went through so many different other textures until we found that glowstone looked amazing, especially in this texture pack.
Well, to wrap this conversation up, let's all give one sentence closing thought. My closing thought is every single minute that you are not building something creative is kind of a waste of time. That's what I think.
My thought about the topic is people are asking me to offer my map for download, and because everything in there was created and grinded, it's so precious for me, I won't give it away until I consider it finished.